Today I'm going to answer a viewer email. This one comes from Justin, and he wants to know if I can tell him some of the common mistakes that I see made in the private investigation industry. This is Larry Kaye, ShadowAnyone.com, and the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, Premium Private Investigator Training from someone who's been there and done that. Justin, there are a lot of mistakes that are made over time that investigators make, and but you know, here's a common one. I don't really see professional investigators making this one so much, but people who are learning this skill or trying to do it to help out a friend, or maybe they are helping out somebody with a small business trying to do a little bit of a background check on employees or things like that. Here's the real common mistake. I'll give you two. One is when a person who's learning this type of thing checks online court records to look for criminal history. They frequently will only check one court level in their county, and that's where you do these checks. You check them for the best checks. You do them at the county level. There are some paid database services that do larger areas, and there's a whole, you got to be careful about those, and I teach about that in my training. But you know, you're searching really at the county level for criminal history, and a big mistake I see made a lot by amateurs is they only check one court level. So, for example, municipal or lower court, where you have your more minor offenses, petty thefts, and maybe an assault, drunken disorderly, those types of things. They'll check that court record, find nothing, and think the person is got no criminal record. Well, really what they did was they checked the lower court, the less serious events in one county. So here's the big thing is be sure to check both court levels, both the lower court and the higher court, or superior court sometimes it's called, or common pleas court, where felonies are handled. Person may not show up in a lower court for murder, rape, felonious assault, things like that. They may be charged directly into common pleas or the superior court. So I want you to be sure to check both court levels in the county that you're checking to make sure that the person's there. Here's a little bonus tip for you. A lot of times in the middle of the night, if someone is booked on a felony, the lower court, the clerk of court's office, is open a lot of times 24 hours a day. So that felony person will get booked into the lower court, the clerk's office there, go through the jail into the clerk's office, and so they might have a felony, say a burglary. They'll get booked into the lower court. Now when you go to check these court records, you're going to see that the person, oh my goodness, they were booked for charged with burglary, and you look and to see the next day or 24, 48 hours later, the charges were dismissed. And you say, oh well, you know, I guess they were dismissed, there must have been a mistake. Well, look very carefully. Usually it says dismissed for future indictment. And what that means is, and literally they take the piece of paper when they dismiss it from the municipal clerk's office, they walk across the hall or up a few floors to the superior court, and they'll recharge them within 5 minutes, just as, you know, as soon as they can walk over there, with that felony of burglary. So just because you find a felony in the lower court that's dismissed doesn't mean it really went away. You have to really follow up on that in that superior court or upper court or common pleas court. Here's the number two mistake that I see made very commonly is you need to really, for a good thorough background check, especially for, I'm not going to give pre-employment screening advice here, check with an attorney if you need to know about those things, but generally speaking 7 years back is what you're looking for. So you may check the county you are and go back 7 years for criminal history and find nothing, or just a minor thing that doesn't bother your client. But what if that person has only recently moved to that county in the last 6 months or 3 years ago? Well, if this person lived in another county, you have to check that county back 7 years as well in order to be thorough. If the person lives in one county and works in a neighboring county, you have to check both of those counties back 7 years. So this is a very, and Justin, here's probably these two things, not checking both courts in a county and not checking all the county courts that would apply for that particular person you're background checking, or even skip tracing for that matter. I hope that's helpful to you. All of this type of thing is I teach extensively in my paid training courses. Please go over to ShadowAnyone.com and check out my blog where I give a lot more information and information about these courses. This is Larry Kaye, shadowanyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.